All right. Well, I want to welcome everybody to the November edition of the Flagler County Historical Society Board of Directors meeting. I'm going to call the meeting officially to order. Oh, here's Susie. All right. Susie lately has been both on the computer and on the phone, so maybe that's what she's got going. Hello, Susie. How are you?
I'm good. Hello.
Hey, good. All right. Okay, so we are just getting started right now, and I want to welcome everybody to our meeting. And we're going to start off with officer reports, beginning with Teresa Owens. Teresa?
Hi, I emailed the minutes to everyone from the October 22nd meeting. Are there any corrections or additions?
All right. No? Hearing nothing? Yep.
Okay.
So hearing nothing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hearing nothing, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'm Fran and I move.
Second.
All right, so Fran Anderson made the motion. James Fisk gave the second. Any further discussion? Hearing nothing, all in favor of adopting the minutes from the October 22nd, say aye or wave.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so the motion passes unanimously. Teresa, again, thank you for all the work you do on this. I know it's a lot of work, so I really appreciate all the things that you do to keep us officially recorded. All right, Linda Jarose. Yep, you're welcome. Thank you. Linda Jarose, are you here on the online? All right, hearing nothing, we'll go back to her a little bit later on. I'll check about halfway through. Jan Rieger. Jan, are you on the meeting with us? All right, hearing and seeing nothing, we're going to move on to my section. Are there any questions about anything that I've sent out this past month from my activity reports? All right, James Fisk is shaking his head along with everybody else, so that's good. So we're still in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you're watching the news and looking at Flagler County statistics, our numbers are going up. There's another wave apparently going through, so we are still maintaining caution. The Holden House and the Annex are currently open 6 days per week by 24-hour advance appointment to groups of 6 or less with social distancing and masks. I began 2 weeks ago, I began a Bunnell Home Builder photo extraction and index project. So basically what I did was I paged through all of the Bunnell Home Builders from 1912 through 1918 that we have, and photographed all of the photographs that are in each of the issues. The JPEGs all have files that talk about the month and the year and either the person or the subject matter or the building or what have you. And what I would like to do with all these, there's almost 350 photos. I just finished today. So out of the 350 photos, many of them, of course, have been seen by looking at the Bunnell Home Builder, but I don't think this has ever been done as one work. But I would like to index them by year, by month, by subject, by name, and then add it to something that can be searchable if possible, Ashley. For those that come in to research family histories, they can actually look up names and see if we have any photos of family members. So, so that
Dropbox is completely searchable. If you put it in a folder,
yep.
It can be easily searched just through the computer functions.
Okay.
If you want to share just that one folder on, let's say, the technology computer,
right.
People would be able to easily just open the one folder and search through it.
Okay. So then just take all those JPEGs and put them into one folder and put it on the Dropbox, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, well, that saves me a lot of time then.
Yep.
All right, so I'll do that. I'll be uploading them tomorrow, and I guess I'll just copy the link, or I'll include you on the Dropbox upload, Ashley. That way, you know where it is. So, thank you for that. That's great news. So that is the Bunnell Home Builder. Heritage Crossroads is beginning to revitalize themselves. I've been attending their leadership meetings for this last year. And last week, they asked me to be on their board, which I agreed to. They are also going to be asking James Fisk and Preston Zepp. The thing about Heritage Crossroads is that they are directly tied into funding and also organizational structure from the Florida Department of Transportation. They right now are incredibly interested in our Alice Scott Abbott Church project because the relocated church next to the Holden House would be right by their byway as far as the crossroads go. They're also very interested in the Kings Road Historic District. So what they've requested from me is for the Historical Society to produce a report on costs for church purchase, church relocation, church renovation, restoration, creation of the museum. And I'm going to submit that to them and see what kind of funding we can get through their venues and their outreaches. So very excited about that. Kings Road Historic District, same thing. And I'll be providing updates to everybody as that becomes clear and comes along. Next on my list, the Flagler County History Roundtable, which has been meeting all the history groups in Flagler County for the last year plus, is now moving forward with converting into the Flagler County Preservation Society. We've put together a preliminary board of directors, and right now we are assembling potential individuals who might want to serve in officer roles and also in other roles throughout. So I'm going to be sending out a breakdown of the organizational structure of what that's going to look like. And if you see yourself fitting in somewhere or helping out, if you have some time in your schedule, please send me an email and let me know, and we'll go ahead and get you involved. The Preservation Society, as a legal LLC and something that we're going to be looking to get nonprofit status for, will be able to function at a higher level to obtain funding and grants than any one individual group can. So basically it will be an umbrella organization that will unify the voices of all Flagler County historians and then also be able to obtain money that would not be able to have gotten otherwise. And we'll figure out a way to be able to disperse that money once we get it. So look for that in the email from me as well. I want to extend a big thank you to James Fisk. I don't know how many of you were able to watch the Board of County Commissioners meeting on Monday. They had another hearing for the gardens development off of John Anderson, and James waited close to 6 hours to be able to stand up and provide information for the sake of history before the county commission voted on whether to approve the gardens. So James spoke about there being, actually, James, why don't you unmute yourself? I'm going to have you go ahead and cover this because you're the one that's put all the effort out. So let's hear it directly from you.
Well, I've unfortunately let some of the projects that I need to be working on with the Historical Society, I had to kind of have them slide because of the research that I had to do. Was able to obtain each and every master site file that applied to the gardens area. And in that, there were 18 different, basically Indian mounds that were identified, and 2 had human remains in them. On the north end, along the intercoastal, was one of the sites. Another one was down at the south end in the property. And once upon a time, there was almost like a village that spread from Bulow Creek over to the intercoastal. I mean, there had to have been a village there. And if I'm not mistaken, there were human remains found in one of the middens down there. They did a phase 3, which means they did the reinterment for the one that's in the north end. The Seminole tribe came in and they took care of reburial somewhere. A note that was in there was 4 sites were eligible for the historic preservation register. So I will be looking into that. I spoke with Ed about it. He likes the idea. So it's not going to stop the development by any means, but hopefully it will. Hopefully they'll think about at least preserving it, but I don't see any future in that. Also in the south end, there was in 1940, there was a cattle dipping vat that was placed in there, which there was 3,200 all throughout the state of Florida. 45 were here in Flagler County. It was filled with arsenic at the time, plus DDT, DCE, a bunch of other chemicals. Over the years since 1940, of course, we've had many storms, and a lot of that would have emptied out into the ground. It is in a low-lying area, so there's a very good chance that it has crept into a lot of the marsh there. So they are going to have to do remediation on that. However, in the TRC meeting, when all this started, they never responded to the TRC telling them that it needed to be remediated. And so I brought that up, and of course, they didn't care. So I did what I could. We got shot down 3-2. I did personally go up and thank Commissioner Erickson and also Commissioner Hanson for their help in it. So that's where we're at. And then I spent another all-nighter last night on things that they need to respond to as far as what the TRC brought out. So that's my report on that.
All right, James. Well, I appreciate your dedication. It's an awful lot of work, and just keep track of your hours for Deborah. And we may not win every skirmish as far as history is concerned, but at least we fought the fight, and we continue to move forward. And all along the way, we'll have victories and defeats, but at least somebody's fighting for preservation. And I admire everybody on the board for always having done that and for continuing to do that. So again, thank you. Teresa, just so you know, I got a text message from Linda. Linda is actually on the meeting right now, but we're not able to hear her. I've looked at all of the telephone connections and nobody's muted, so I'm not sure what's going on. But I just sent her a text back. Linda, if you're able to either text me just a summary of your report or send it to me in chat on Zoom, one of the two, then I'll go ahead and read it and we'll get your portion of the officer reports taken care of. So I'll give you a few minutes to take care of that. All right, next on the list, through a conversation that I had with Gina Pasalacqua, who is one of the directors at Craig Flagler Palm Funeral Home on Old Kings Road South, I've come to find out, and this may be knowledge to some of you, that the brick road that goes through the cemetery is a part of the original brick road. for Dixie Highway. And she said where the brick road ends at the woods behind the crematorium, the brick road is in the woods and it goes back there for quite a while. So it's somewhat covered, somewhat exposed. And I'm waiting to hear back from her for an opportunity for several of us. I know that James, Preston, Zepp, and Tanya have already volunteered to go out and take a look and see what the road looks like, how far it goes, and then we're going to figure out ownership. She believes it might be St. Johns River Water Management, but Bill, we're going to be recruiting you on this as far as documentation and research so that perhaps we can save another stretch of the road now, early, before anything decides to happen to that land. And that original stretch of brick road becomes a part of history that's never going to be seen again. So I'll be letting everybody know how that progresses along. And certainly pictures and video will be forthcoming depending upon what we find out there in the woods. Next on my list, I've got the plaque that we had ordered. Well, that's not shown. Well, somehow my background, oh, wait. This is like another Progressive insurance commercial.
Your head's disappearing.
I don't know what's going on. All right, so this is the plaque that we got for Diane Marquis, and
Encore.
it's beautiful. Yeah. Well, this is being recorded, so you can watch this later on. So I've sent 2 messages to Diane Marquis' nurse. I've left a couple of messages at her house. I've heard nothing back. I've had the plaque now for 2 weeks. We were wanting to get this out ASAP since the nurse had told me that that Diane wasn't doing well. So I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but I'm going to continue to try and reach out there. Maybe over the weekend I'll stop by and knock on the door with a mask on. And I don't think she's got any firearms. Bill, do you know if Diane is packing over there at the house? So I'm being facetious. So but anyway, I'm going to continue to try and get this plaque to her just to let her know that we appreciate her and all the dedication that she has given the Historical Society over the years. And that takes care of my section. Are there any questions or comments before we move on? Yes, Tanya, go ahead.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Right behind, I'm going backwards. Right behind Craig's is owned by, it says, Bulow Creek LLC. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, James is
And then behind it is, on the other side of it is Flagler County.
All right.
Board of Commissioners.
Okay, so I think we'll once we know exactly what Gina is talking about and where it is, and we can figure out whose property it's on. And again, you know, there's been things that have disappeared that I wish we could have saved, like the old jail.
Right.
And if we're catching this early enough now, then we will go ahead and act accordingly to see if we can't preserve that, open it up, and with permission of Craig Flagler Palms, maybe even allow people to walk back there, walk back in time, through what should be a canopy forest with that brick road still intact. So we'll see. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself until we see what's happening there.
Okay, go ahead.
But I appreciate that, Tanya. Well, if you're going to be with us, you'll know exactly where we are and help us figure out whose property it's on. So, all right. So I've got a message back from Linda. Linda says that everybody has a copy of the treasurer's report, that at this time she's got nothing to add. Are there any questions or comments for Linda and the treasurer's report? All right, hearing nothing, I would imagine that Linda is going to ask for a motion to accept the treasurer's report for last month. Do we have a motion?
So move.
So James Fisk first.
Second.
Thea second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye. Fran.
Aye.
All right, good. Passes unanimously. Thank you. And thank you, Linda, for the work that you do. It was good seeing you for 18 seconds when you buzzed in and out of here the other day. All right, so we're moving down. Number 3, forms, flyers, and materials. We've got nothing going on right now with that. Committees and reports. We'll go ahead and take care of the first couple right away. The governance/nominating committee is now currently accepting intentions of board members and officers for the 2021 year. If you are on the board and your term is going to be reaching its end of where we are now, please get in touch with me or Fran or Deborah Venema so that we know what your plans are for 2021. We look forward to having all of you come back again for another go around with preserving history. Any questions or comments about governance or nominating committee? All right, hearing and seeing nothing, we're going to be moving on to the budget committee. Budget committee, as we're coming close to the end of the year, they will be assembling to develop an operating budget for 2021. Any questions or comments on budget committee? All right, good. And Linda, just so you know, if you have anything that you want to ask or add, just send me a text. I've got my phone opened up here, okay? Audit committee. The audit committee was supposed to assemble 2 weeks ago to review 2019 and to discuss 2020. Deborah Venema, who those of you who aren't familiar with her, comes to us from a very large nonprofit out of Maryland. Their operating budget was $18 million a year. And she's going to be helping our group for grants and funding for next year. She's been helping us go through organizational processes on paper so that we look very appealing to those people that are actually giving out the grants. And her suggestion was to investigate and look into having the Historical Society records and financial statements either reviewed or audited by a certified public accountant. That kind of gives a couple of layers of assurance to them that yes, we're doing a great job. Yes, we're responsible because it's been, it comes from an outside source. So initially I reached out to one of our Historical Society lifetime members, Hewitt DuPont, who is a CPA. And he said that he would have loved to have done it, except that he just retired only a couple months ago. So he is not able to do that kind of work. Next week, I'm going to be getting in touch with Flagler Tax Service. They're maybe a quarter mile to the east of us, next to Chicken Pantry. They've been around for a very long time. I know that they do a lot of benefit type of work. A couple of years ago, Bill, you may remember that the house behind Serafina's went on fire. The people that were renting it lost everything that they had. And with Serafina's Cafe and the other businesses in that shopping plaza, hosted by Flagler Tax Service, we were able to raise close to $1,000 for those people to get back on their feet, get into a new place, and recover some of or replace some of their belongings. So I know they've got the spirit, and I'm going to sit down and talk to them to find out exactly what they could do to help us, and if there's any potential cost with that, I'll present them to the board. All right. Any questions or comments about audit committee? All right, hearing and seeing nothing. We're going to move on to program committee, and I'm going to turn this over to Susan Baird. Susan?
Well, hello. We're going to try to do Zoom programs. We're lining them up. We're going to try initially monthly. And, you know, we're going to work with, hopefully Bill Ryan will be #1 in January. We have a date. We're going to hone in on the 4th Saturday of the month. So the 23rd of January is the first one. And Bill's been in touch with us, and it sounds like he's able, ready, willing to start. And then the other programs can be worked on, and the schedule's open. So whenever you're ready to, you want to make a presentation, then we've got the date, we've got the Zoom, so we're ready to go.
That's great. One of the things that Bill and I had spoken about, Susie, is having him put additional programs in between those once a month dates. That way we kind of build momentum early on, right out of the gate, and he's going to be getting that information to us. We'll put together flyers, and because I had technical issues with Bill Ryan Day on last night's Zoom presentation. What I want to do, Bill, between now and when you're scheduled to present, is do a mock presentation with as many board members as we can, as if we're doing the real one, so that we can look at all these
regularly.
Yeah.
And every time we've learned something new. It's a mystery, and every time we do one of these mock things, we learn something.
Yep, I agree. I want to make sure that as far as public presentation goes, we look sharp. Everything goes without a glitch. Of course, there's always going to be something that comes up, and that's fine. But to do as best as we can. There was I could not for the life of me last night find out how to do a Facebook Live simulcast. So that's a question that I've got.
I'm researching this now for you.
Okay, thank you. And then of course, I guess there's a difference between having a PowerPoint or a PDF and individual JPEG files, because it did not look good with JPEG files. You were looking at me opening and closing windows, and that was just very distracting when Bill and I kind of did a review a half hour before. So these are things that I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing with, and then I'll share that knowledge with everybody else on the program committee, so that there's we've got a couple of layers of backup for running these things. But otherwise, I think we should be good. Also, the tip jar, Bill. That's another thing that I want to make sure.
I've observed that the Ormond Beach Historical Society has been raising considerable amounts of money on their Zoom programs, and I mean quite a lot. And they've been doing it through donations, volunteer donation. It's not a tip jar per se, but they've given people a link that they can contact and make a volunteer donation. And it seems to be working. They've raised a significant amount of money.
We have a link on the website for donations.
Not at the moment, no.
No, there it is on the site. So, and it goes directly to the credit card processing, just like new members, if you sign up for a new membership. But I was on a Library of Congress webinar today, and let me tell you, if it could go wrong, it went wrong. So even the Library of Congress can't get it right. So don't feel bad if you have problems.
It's a new mystery because Zoom is changing the program almost every day. And it's just a mystery.
All right. Well,
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Fran.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a question about it. Is it going to be limited to like a certain time frame when you're doing this? I'm sorry, but I'm I'm not very knowledgeable on the Zoom programs. I've watched some, but will we be limiting the time on them? Like, is it a certain time, like 2 hours or a 1 hour? And the reason I'm asking this question is Claudia and I had some questions. We were kind of like brainstorming something, but it's not. It's something that we would be wanting to talk to the committee about, not an open forum of the board right now. And we just wondered, is it time limited?
I can answer that. There's two ways of Zooming. One is a fixed time, and if you have the same time, you're more likely to get people to log in. But quite amazingly, you can record the live Zoom and place the recording on Facebook, And then you get a tremendous response, tremendous. In other words, you do your
Oh,
live Zoom, you record it, and you place the
right.
recording on Facebook, and you get an unbelievable response.
Okay, for your programs, like Bill, when you're planning your program, is it for like an hour or 2 hours so that if something else wanted to be put in to the program for like, you know, maybe a 5 minute segment? Is that
Well, right
doable?
now, on many programs we used to do in rooms, if you go over an hour, people get glassy eyed and you lose your audience.
Okay.
But
Okay. Well,
15
Claudia and
minute
I are going to come
commercial.
up with our ideas, and we'll bring them to the committee.
Yeah, that'd be
That'll
great.
probably be the better way.
Yes.
Great, sounds good.
Yeah, the other thing that Bill and I had spoken about, James, I'm going to make sure I bring you in on this, and also Preston, even though he's not with us tonight. Some of the Zoom presentations that we had talked about doing with the two of you as reenactors, we had said it would be a great idea to be able to do it out there at Hewitt's or somewhere else. Well, that's all going to be predicated on having a Wi-Fi signal in order to broadcast live. And since at best cell phone service out there is bad and there's definitely no Wi-Fi signal out there, we're going to need to plan presentations, either plan presentations that the two of you want to do, you know, some place that looks wild, and that could just even be like a, you know, a part of your backyard that's got foliage. But we need to be somewhere within reach of a Wi-Fi signal that's going to be uninterrupted, or the other option, and Bill and I seem to favor this, even though it won't be live. But I guess you could have a live intro, like we talked
Sure,
about,
sure.
Susie, where you have a host and the host introduces the program director and the program director gives the overview of the program. And then instead
you
of
could-
doing a live thing, we could do a video of, you know, a pre-recorded video of their presentation and then show that.
You can have video and you can have James Fisk live talking over the video. In other words, he's running, the viewer is seeing the video, but there's a little window which is James live and he's commenting on his own video. This is very effective.
Okay.
And this works.
All right. So I just want to make sure that we, you know, we kind of take a look at some of the hurdles to get over with something like that. And then James, and I'll speak to Preston about this, you know, just, you know, kind of visualize how you want to do your presentation. And if it's going to be like what Bill just suggested, where you've got a pre-recorded video playing, you know, be able to stop it in certain segments and elaborate or add things to, or, you know, just let your imagination run wild. You know, you guys are great with being able to do that. And it's same thing for Ashley, you know, when you get ready to Ashley talk about, you know, genealogy and family research and the new computer station and, you know, all that kind of stuff. We'll figure out the best way to put it together and have it hosted so that, you know, you don't just log on and watch a video. And I mean, there's no interaction there right now. I think people are really craving interaction because of what this year has looked like as far as isolation goes.
Can it be in a bar?
Sure.
Yeah, it can be in a bar. All right, Susie, anything else additional?
No, we're just gonna give it a try. That's all I can say. What time are we gonna look at this? Like,
Bill, what's been a good window of viewership in your experience with these things as far as time goes?
Well, I don't know. The library's been doing 4 o'clock, but I have no idea.
well, this is a Saturday, so I don't know. I'm like 10 o'clock. Is that too early? Then you can go on with your day.
Well, it just depends on when people can watch. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this is something that we can experiment with. You know, we can, you know, do one, say at 10 o'clock. We can do another one at 7 o'clock after dinner, you know, and kind of see when we get our best, you know, viewership, and then figure out from there, you know. when we were doing all of our presentations at the library, what was our typical time for doing those?
Saturday morning.
Okay, at 10
Yeah.
o'clock? Was it at 10?
I don't remember for sure.
Okay. All right.
Really.
Well, we can always, Bill, as long as it's okay with you, we can always schedule the first one with you at 10 o'clock on that date. And then we'll look at how we did with statistics as far as how many people signed on. And we can always see if we want to change the time to another one for the following thing.
Well,
the
the
one thing that
secret-
go ahead, Bill, I'm sorry.
The secret is recording it and getting it up on Facebook, because a live show, you might get 20, 30 people. The Facebook, here we were getting 240 to 300 people on Facebook. Now, I don't know, we only did 4 programs, so that's not a big sample. But
Right.
we got 30 or 40 live and 200 or 300 on Facebook.
Okay. The other thing is of course to steal other people's ideas and methods. So as each of us go and log on to other programs that are being run by, say, Ormond or Library of Congress or whatever it is, just kind of take a look and see how they're doing things, what their what their viewership looks like, and then we can fine tune what we're doing. Fran, I think you were starting to talk. I didn't mean to talk.
Yes, this doesn't have to do with I don't really know where this is going to fit in, but it's program. Susie,
Yeah.
you, asking a question here. Thinking about our annual general membership. Do we need to establish a date for that?
Well, we could call it
I know-
January 27th, and that could be our kickoff.
I know last year we did it in February, and according to our bylaws, it just says that the annual general membership meeting must be held each fiscal year at a time and location to be determined by the executive board. Okay, so that's just the issue that I just now thought about while we're meeting for November. Is in the past it was always in January, and then with COVID and all the stuff going on, is that something we need to just make sure that we get on the agenda for next month, or is that something we need to talk about?
Yeah, I guess the general meeting, the purpose would be to install the officers. Would be
Yes.
one of the things we would do. And those kind of housekeeping things we can take care of before the program is presented. And we've done it in the past that way, where we call it a general meeting, but there's a program also.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
I guess that
thank you.
the other thing to bring up would be holiday end of the year party. What's everybody's thoughts on that for where we currently are?
Yeah.
Not possible.
Not possible this year due to COVID. It's very unfortunate, but I just don't see how we should do that.
All righty. All right. So we'll keep on rehearsing, and eventually we're going to get this thing going really well. All right. Any other questions or comments for program committee?
Thank you, Susie.
Yeah. Thank you, Susie. This is all unknown territory, Susie, but we're sticking together on this. We're going to do fine. So don't.
We don't
sure
know
are.
the answers either.
Yep. Yeah. We don't know the answers either. So we're gonna.
No, that's right.
It's going to be one big Viking funeral for everybody. All right, moving on. We've got membership committee and Tanya Gordon. Tanya?
Sorry, I had to unmute. I think Fran said we got 3 of the memberships of the ones that I sent out. I don't even remember, but I still got more on a list that I must send out, and I've got to update my list and bring it into Fran.
Okay.
Or bring it into the Historical Society. So I'm still waiting.
Good job, Tanya.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
great. Yeah, thank you for your work on
Thank
that.
you,
So,
Fran.
Yep.
For helping.
that's awesome. That's it.
And I think we are going to have a
Oh, we're losing you.
membership committee Zoom this week, and
Okay.
next week is not going to be good. So, but that's
right.
it.
All right, great. Any questions for Tanya on membership?
Yes.
Go ahead, James.
How many people do we actually have on our membership list?
That are actual members, or
That
the
are on the
one
list?
that I made up, or what we had.
Just however many are the maximum amount of how many are on the list.
We can send you that we can send that information out when we go into the Past Perfect. I can do that on Friday. But as far as exactly right now, the number, I really can't. I can't tell you, and I don't know that. Tanya, do you have the list with you? I don't think so.
No, ma'am.
But I can send that information out. Tanya, would you like me to do that on Friday?
If you're going to be there, if you don't mind.
I'm going to be there on Friday, so
Okay.
I don't mind doing that. Would that be helpful, James?
Yeah,
We'll tell you how many people. We'll tell you how many contacts we have, and then we'll tell you how many members we have.
I think that's something that, you know, the entire board needs to know.
That's what I said. I will send that out to everybody.
Yeah, that'll
on
be
Friday.
Good. That's good.
Okay.
All right, very good. Any other questions or comments for Tanya and membership? All right, hearing and seeing nothing, we're going to move on to social media with James Fisk. Go ahead, James.
Okay, I checked the numbers today. The last 28 days from October 21st to November 17th, we've reached 43,894 people. We've had 14,024 post engagements. We've had 81 new page likes. So we're up to 3,306 that like it, and 3,489 that follow us. Last month, we had 3,236 people that liked us. We had 3,417 that followed, and we had 14,169 that were reached. So we're up on all our numbers, and I'm very happy to see that.
All right, that's great. Well, I appreciate you continuing to do your research on that. And you know, Preston, between the two of you posting for Kings Road Historic District and the Historical Society, and going back and forth, sharing, and James has been sharing over at Heritage Crossroads as well. Our message is definitely getting out there. Are there any questions for James about social media? All right, hearing nothing. Over the last several weeks, there's kind of been a shift and a growth happening in other social media venues. Parler, which is equivocal to Twitter, MeWe, which is kind of another version of Facebook, and Rumble, which is another version of YouTube, seem to be growing pretty rapidly. So I'm monitoring those three to see at some point if there will be any benefit for us to take what we're doing on the traditional social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and start posting on those to expand our viewership. So that's something that I'm looking at, watching, and we'll see how things progress there. All right, moving.
Hold on just a second, if you will.
Yes.
I have seen on Facebook, on the new portion that they have now, and I don't know anything about how to go about doing it, but there's apparently a button or something that you can, when you do post, it goes to Instagram as well. So that's something you may want to look into.
And I have looked into it, but I don't, from what I can tell, and maybe Ashley, if you have time, you can take a look at this as well. Your Facebook page has to be set up as a certain kind of page, almost like a fan page, and that will enable you to share to Instagram. Because I've been trying, since all of this has been going on, I've been trying to take your posts and share them to Instagram, and the only thing that it's doing is sending it into the message inbox for the Instagram account. So it's not actually going on the Instagram wall or news feed. It's being sent as a message to Instagram where nobody sees it except for me 30 seconds later. And I'm like, oh, great, great. That was productive. So I kind of looked at a YouTube video, and they said that, this person said that your page needed to be a fan page in order for that to go back and forth. And so I'm kind of at a standstill with that. Ashley, does that ring a bell at all with you or Bill?
I have my own page for my business, and if I post to Instagram, it will push it to Facebook. I have automatically. So when I post to Instagram, it just goes to Facebook to that page. I have never tried posting from Facebook to Instagram, but I imagine it would work since it goes from Instagram to Facebook, but I've never really played with it.
So if you get a chance, maybe you can just take a look at it with your own, and we've got you listed as an admin on the Facebook page. If you, really, I guess if you want to go from our page and just post something to Instagram, or I can give you the Instagram login information, so you have it at hand. That way we can see if we can get that part working. But I've not been able to figure that out. I need to get a hold of either Ashley or an 8th grader to to show us the way through that. All right. Any other questions or comments on social media? All right. Hearing nothing, we're going to move on to inventory with James Fisk. James.
Hi there.
Hi.
Again, because of the research that I was doing for the gardens project, really haven't done too much. However, I did spend a lot of time putting in accessions, and we are just about caught up. I think I got maybe about 5 more since we've gotten some recent donations. And then I can start in on the myriad of stuff that we've got scattered all over the annex and the Holden house, because very little of that stuff is in the computer. So that's the next huge project.
And would you like to speak to the rifles?
They're not there, so I can't. Unfortunately, the American Legion got in touch with us, and they've gone from basically 100 members to about 400 members now. And they wanted to be able to have periods throughout the year where they can do firing. And so they came and let us know that they would like, these were on loan from them. So they said they would like to have them back. So the rifles and the display case are back with the American Legion now, and they will be using them to fire at different celebrations and memorial stuff like that. So they're now gone, but I will be taking care of the computer, the accessions on that, because it was a loan and now it's gone.
Okay. So for those of you that come through the annex for any reason and wander into the back, If you see that the rifles are gone and the display case, that's because the owners have taken them back. So, any other questions for
Well,
James?
that'll give us more space for other things, so.
That's exactly right. We don't need to be Spartan here. We'll just get more stuff. That's all. All right. If there's no other questions for James, then we will move on to Preservation Committee. Now, Preston is not with us. I know we talked last meeting about the great job that he did on the Planet Junior seed planter. James, why don't you talk a little bit about the donation that Evelyn Clickard from the DAR had made with those woodworking tools and the restoration work that Preston did on them.
All right. Evelyn Clickard from DAR, she donated 3 different wood planes that were in good shape, but Preston got a hold of them, and I mean to tell you, they look brand spanking new now. So they are in the annex, and they're on the north wall in the room that has the movie camera in. So it's on that shelf that's up against the wall on the north end. They look fantastic. I did take pictures of them, and the pictures have disappeared. So I'll have to go in and take pictures of the new restored planes, and they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. One goes back to like 1911. The newest is about 1950.
Awesome. This is a passion that Preston has. He's just about every other day he's sending us pictures of stuff that he's bought and restoring, and he just does amazing work. Any questions about Preservation Committee? All right, hearing nothing, we're going to move to Gift Shop Committee. And while we don't have a whole lot of traffic in our gift shop right now, I am going to see, I did this before. What's going on with this? All right. I was able to pull up a picture that Dale Allen had sent me earlier, but I'm not going to waste a whole bunch of time on it. So I'll just describe it to you. Dale's wife is a historian and also a potter, and they spent a good amount of time this last year setting up a kiln, professional kiln in their yard that looks like a SpaceX rocket taking off when they fire that thing up. But Dale's wife has designed a Christmas ornament out of clay that has the Holden House image on it, with Holden House over the top, and basically it's an ornament out of clay, handmade, that looks like our logo. That's what she based it on, and I believe they're going to be doing a bunch of these for us to put up for sale and for purchase. We can market them on our website, market them on social media, but it looks great. And I don't want to mess the meeting up, so I'll go ahead and send an email out with the picture in there, so all of you can.
Are these donations? Are these put in as a donation?
That I don't know. We didn't get that far.
Or consignment.
He didn't. We didn't get that far. He just wanted to know if I liked the design, and I said, yeah, I think the design looks great. So we'll work out those details over the next couple of days. This was just today that I spoke to him about it. So, but we'll get those questions answered as well. Any questions about gift shop?
Is there any way we can sell this stuff on Facebook?
Yeah, we can take pictures and post them with contact information for people to reach out to us. When I had photographed all of the inventory that we have, all the books and the things that are over at the Holden House, I had created a a digital catalog that I posted on Facebook. It didn't produce any sales, but but it was posted. So that probably needs to be a more regular thing that we do, is to post that, so it just doesn't disappear, on the timeline into the past.
Are they able to pay for it on Facebook?
No. So eventually what we can do is we can get the store going on the website, and then you can just share from the website to Facebook. So then when they click on it, they can go ahead and purchase it and pay for it, including any shipping or anything, if they're not
Okay.
going to pick it up from the society.
Okay.
Good
But
deal.
that's a future goal.
So until that happens, we'll just post with a contact info or email, and if they want to, they can just get in touch with us directly like that. All right. I thought I heard somebody else start to chime in about that subject. Was there anybody? All right. No, hearing nothing. Newsletter committee. This is something that we're still working towards. I sent out another communique just to keep our membership aware of where we are, what's happening. I changed the format a little bit so that we have a different Thomas A. Verdinius on the back, selling Bunnell property, so that people don't get too accustomed to think that it's just one that they've seen already. So I've had a couple of emails back from our membership saying, thank you for sending this out. We appreciate you letting us know what's going on. I plan on doing another one of those the beginning of December, and just to let everybody know what we got going on, and to announce also our Zoom schedule as that continues to develop. All right, school program committee. James, is there any updates on anything to do with that, or the student board that we were going to put together?
Okay, I've spoken with Andy Dance. I've spoken with Nancy Duke, and I've also spoken with Colleen Conklin. All three love the idea. I also got in touch with Courtney Crum, who was one of our recipients of a scholarship, and she's on board with it as well. Again, because of the research that I did for the Gardens project, I had to put everything else on hold. So we're still going to be working on it, and so I'll do the best I can to continue working on our projects as well.
Okay. All right. Great. Any questions for James about school programs? All right. Hearing nothing and moving on. Our Revenue Resource Committee, aka Grant Committee, is currently assembling a listing and a timeline of potential grants, so that we can work on getting ourselves in front of people that have money to give out. So that is something that is currently active. Website and paper review. Bill and Ashley, anything to add that we've not already covered?
Not really. I've made some postings, but I don't think there's been any changes.
No, there haven't been any changes, but when the website launched, I added Google Analytics. So we can kind of track what we have going on with the website, similar to what you do with social media. And since October 25th, when it launched, we've had 682 users, so 682 individual visitors, and 2,361 page views.
Wow.
And one of the interesting things is, probably because it got posted on Facebook, but 54% of our users have been mobile, meaning they've come to the site on a cell phone. So that was kind of interesting. The other thing is I embedded the form from MailChimp. So we might want to start working on using MailChimp to send out newsletters. And I told Ed this earlier, but it had been a while since I logged into the MailChimp account and suddenly realized we have 51 new subscribers. And the majority of those subscribers came from Facebook because I had embedded the form at Facebook. So I can export that list because it also includes their first name, last name, address, and email address. And I can send that to Tanya and Fran so that they can market to them to become new members. But so
Great.
that list is up to 205. So that was what we had at the time in Past Perfect when we originally uploaded this list. And then all these new people who have joined since. The one thing that I was doing with the website before I got sick was monitoring any broken links. So that happens through something called Google Webmaster Tools. And it alerts me to anything that's broken. And then I've been manually redirecting those pages to the new page. So if you went to the old annex page, it should forward you automatically to the new annex page. And so I've just been going through and fixing those whenever they come through.
Ed, one suggestion. MailChimp is a very effective way of building a membership list because it does it pretty much automatically. But the one drawback, do not put large posts on MailChimp. In other words, your information needs to be fairly tight because it's coming by email and people are offended if you give them a lot of information.
We typically, where I work, we have 75,000 emails that we send out our newsletter to. So we have 75,000 in our database. And we limit our newsletters to 4 stories. And I carry that over to pretty much every newsletter that I do on a volunteer basis. So the Florida State Genealogical Society has 4 stories. Usually one thing I've written and then 3 links to other pages that are relevant to the month. And so, that's, you have to treat it a little differently than a printed newsletter that would have come in the mail. It has to be something that's short, has a quick teaser, and invites somebody to click on the link to follow it someplace.
All right, very good. Any questions for Ashley or Bill about website or paper review? All right, thank you both for your work. All right, moving on to old business. The following items are either presently on hold, which would be bus tours, postcard project, the Historical Society brochure, that's actually being worked on. AARP secretary grant, I've heard nothing. The Dr. Dean House, I've not heard from Bill Dean at all. Flagler County Time Traveler collaboration, Flagler County TV is not doing anything as far as that's concerned right now. But I think we can tie that into our Zoom stuff. Holden House Annex landscaping, that's on hold until we get the church project underway. And then, of course, the ongoing project in the background for the entire year has been the COVID-19 documentation project. Once it looks like we're going to be coming out of this, I'm going to release our questionnaire to our membership to fill out. But for now, and I think I forwarded this to everybody, I've forwarded onto our Facebook page. The city of Palm Coast, I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago, released an update on their tabulations using SurveyMonkey. Is that right? SurveyMonkey? I think so, yeah. To ask questions about how everybody's doing with COVID. So if you haven't taken the survey with the city of Palm Coast, go ahead and help them accumulate information and data. It takes, literally it takes 4 minutes to fill it out. They don't ask for any private information at all. And then there's a box at the end for you to type in any comments that you might have, so that they get more information. So any questions about any of those items? All right, next under old business is reprinting out of production books. Cisco and Gloria Dean, who are the guardians and stewards of the remaining bank account money for both the Bunnell and St. John's Park Pioneers, have indicated that they might take that money, which amounts to somewhere, I can't remember the exact amount, it's somewhere between $2,000 and $3,500. So it's in that range. But they're talking about taking that money and reprinting copies of Unto This Land and the Pictorial History of Bunnell, so that we would have copies here that we could sell to provide information and then to raise money for the Historical Society. So so I spoke to them about that maybe 2.5 weeks ago, and as they move forward with that, I'll keep everybody posted. Okay. Any questions about reprinting out of production books? All right, hearing nothing, seeing nothing. Next on our list is the 1916 Alice Scott Abbott Church, Florida Women's Voting Rights Museum. Jan Rieger has sent an email along with me to Sean Moylan, Tim Telfer, Al Hadid with the county, requesting a meeting so that we can compare the existing contract that we have with the Holden House Annex and that property, and the new contract, which differs quite a bit, for the property to the west of the Holden House that we would like to move this church onto. Probably 10 minutes into the meeting, I got an email notification from Sean Moylan, who's, I guess, basically an understudy for Al Hadid. But I haven't read the email yet, so I don't know what it is. But we have a response, and Jan and I will be taking a look at that and figuring out when we're going to be able to get together with them to address all the concerns that the board members had about the new contract at the last board meeting, and move forward with this project into 2021. Any questions about Alice Scott Abbott Church?
Not a question, but comment.
Yep.
At the commissioners meeting, they tabled Relay Ridge development program, plus now they're going to be scrambling for the gardens. So Telfer, Mangle, and all those, Hadid, they're going to be busy now.
Yeah, and that's what it's been all along. That's why it's taken this amount of time. If you think back, we got the approval for this, for the land use from the Board of Commissioners back on September 9th. And it took about a month for me to hear back from Tim Telfer the first time with an apology. We're sorry, it's been so crazy, yada, yada, yada. I'll get with you next week. And then that turned into another 3 weeks. And so, we're working with their time schedule. To me, it's frustrating. I mean, I get it. I understand, how crazy it is for them with the dunes and all this other stuff. But yet I don't want us to fall between the cracks. So Jan has been in touch. I've been in touch. And it's just a matter of gently reminding them that we've got a project too that we really want to see come about. So James, would you be able to reach out to the owners of the church and just kind of let them know where we're at and that we're waiting to speak with the county about solidifying the land use? And then once that goes through, then we'll be able to sit down with them and talk about a timeline of where we're heading. I just want to make sure that we don't lose touch with them, that they know that we're every bit as serious about this project as we have been all along. And keep them in the loop so that they don't think that we've forgotten about them with the building that they own.
Yeah, I can handle that.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you. There's kind of been a new development with the Alice Scott Abbott church situation. As I've been going through these Bunnell home builders looking at photographs, I came across a listing, or it was a blurb in local happenings, the local happenings section. And Mr. Verdinius said that Alice Scott Abbott had purchased the home and property of Walenta Moore immediately behind her house on the corner of Moore and Moody Boulevard, and that she was going to renovate the house and allow those that were coming into town as tourists, and I think between the lines, maybe even other suffragists, but that she was going to be renting that out almost as a boarding house. So when I read this, got very excited, got in touch with Kim Medley and Tanya and Ashley, and we've been able to determine so far. Actually, no, let me backtrack a second. So what I then did was I went to the house behind the insurance agency, which is on the lot that Alice Scott Abbott's house is on. There's still an old house there. The house number is number 105 North Moore. And I went, knocked on the door, and elderly woman came, answered, and I asked her about how old the house was, and she says, well, it's somewhere around 100 years old. So so I don't know if it's the original house that was on the lot when Alice bought the property, but that's something that we're investigating right now. Tanya has been able to ascertain that the property, the lot that house is on, was purchased by Alice Scott Abbott. We just need to know if the house is original to the lot and if that was also purchased by Alice Scott Abbott. So so the end result of all this, if it comes to be that yes, it's the original house, is that we may not have the house that Alice Scott Abbott lived in, but we have a house that she owned, that she had other people come stay at, which could have been other suffragists that came into the area. So if all this works out, and if it turns out that the house is the original house that she owned, I spoke to the owner and said, you know, if all this comes about, would you be interested in us possibly putting it on the National Register and have people be able to walk or drive past it as they come into the Women's Voting Rights Museum? And she said yes. So so as we put all this together, it may just be another level of hey, look what we've been able to put together. You'll be able to see history that still exists in our area. So I'll as more information comes in on that, I'll let everybody know what develops. Any questions about that? All right, hearing nothing, moving on. The History Art Mural Project. We all went, James and I and people from the AACS and the other museums went to the EOC lobby with Jonathan Lord. He's got 70 feet of wall space that originally he was talking about doing art murals on, and then photographs of Flagler County history from 1917 forward. And then a week later, he made the change to say photographs and maybe paintings on canvases, which I'm not thinking that the artists that were involved are thrilled about, because I've emailed them several times saying this is the new plan, you know, how would you like to participate? And I've heard nothing from them. So so this may wind up being a photography project of Flagler County history, going as a timeline inside of the Flagler County Emergency Operations Center. The Flagler Beach Museum, the Palm Coast Museum, each of those have contributed photos already from their areas. Over the next couple of days, I'm going to be taking the new pictures that we've got from Bunnell Home Builder, combining them with the stuff that we all know, and then sending the whole portfolio over to Jonathan Lord. He's going to take a look through them, and his team is going to pick out the ones that they think would look great in the lobby there. And when this project comes together, we'll also have a, not a plaque, but just a framed announcement card saying that these photos were provided by Flagler County Historical Society. It'll have our contact information on it. And it's just another way of partnering with another group inside the county. So that's where we are with that. Any questions there on art mural? All right, hearing nothing, seeing nothing. The only other old business item I've got is our 2021 potential Holden House game of Clue with the Flagler County Sheriff's Office. I've sent them a version of the plan, waiting to hear back. Once I do, I'll let everybody know what develops. Is there any additional old business before we move on to new business?
Let me ask you a question here. Just to conserve time, is there any way that these that are continuously, well, we can't do anything yet because of the COVID, can we just kind of table those? And then if something comes up on one of them, take them off the table and talk about it? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, well, if you look at item number 1 under old business, I kind of grouped everything in there that we had been going over individually. So, so for next month's meeting, if there's nothing new to report, then I'll just put it in there, and I'll just ask, are there any questions about things that are just pending or tabled? And if there's nothing, then I won't even talk about them.
That'll
But
work.
then if there is something new, then we can talk about it. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
What do you have, a plane to catch? Is that?
Again, I've been doing 3 all-nighters in a row.
I know. I get
I'm
it.
gassed right now.
I get it. I understand. All right. Is there any other additional old business or personal attacks against me from James? All right. Hearing nothing, we're going to move on. New business. Susan Baird had brought something to my attention about scholarships. It's a new development from the Flagler County School Board. I'm going to let her go ahead and talk to us about that. Susan?
Yeah, as you can see from the agenda, they're assessing every organization $50 administrative fee for each scholarship that you propose. So they're requesting from us an extra $100. What will happen if we don't give them the extra $50? They will take it out of the student scholarship. So, many organizations have more scholarships than we do. They did put a limit on it, up to $250, but everybody is really upset. The American Association of University Women, were assessed also, and promptly responded back to their office after having met with their board that, the board was not happy with the way it was handled. It was quick, we weren't given much time frame about this. The letter came about 2 weeks ago. There's no discussion on what exactly is admin costs and where's the money going. And then at this time of COVID, organizations are having a heck of a time fundraising. And this is just the wrong time to be doing this. It's awful. So AAUW let their feelings be known on the email, but again, there's not any choices here. They're gonna pay it. So I just want the board to be aware where we are with this. And I don't want to see the students penalized for this, So I'm proposing that we give them the extra $100 that they request. In the past, what we've done with the scholarship money is we give the scholarship check to the college that the student says they're attending, so that we're dealing with the college office. Student doesn't have the money in their hand. The Education Foundation doesn't have any money in their hand. The school has the money in the student's name, in the student's account. So I think that's the wisest thing to do. What's happened in the past with AAUW, we had a student drop out and the school issued us a refund. So, it's a good track of the money anyhow, the scholarship funds. But that's the news, I guess. And every organization is just not happy at all. And I will send an email with this. I have a form to fill out to tell them our intent. And I will send an email and say the same, virtually the same thing. This is just the worst time, you know. We're not raising any funds. We are fortunate enough to have a scholarship fund attached, but many organizations are, you know, they would have a dance or they'd have a yard sale or trying to scratch together some funds for a scholarship. So, and I don't know if there's any questions or discussions or what we need to say.
All right, so with this new information, do we have any questions, concerns, or comments? And Linda, if you have anything that you would like to voice, you can either send it to Zoom chat or text me. I've got my phone open. So if there's anything you want to add, please let us know.
The only other thing I'd like to say is that there has been some discussion about how we select the recipients of the scholarship. And this is the time right now where we can change it. In the past, under Mary Ann Clark's guidance, the Education Foundation selects the winner of our scholarship. Right now I have the form that, you know, that says, what do we want to do? And we can choose to have a committee review the applicants. And what we would basically say is we would want a student who is a, I guess you're all a member of, a resident of Flagler County. And then we would want a student who is interested in history. And we would want an essay from that student to say, just tell us why they're interested in history, or, you know, something that we can review on an application. All the applications are filtered through the students fill out one online form. And based on what blocks they X off, if they're an Irish descent, if they're interested in gardening, you know, then the forms are filtered out into PALs and categories. AAUW, of course, is giving scholarships to young women, so we only want girls. So, you know, that's the way that works. But we could ask for an essay from the student, and then we would have something to read. Other than their grade point average, we would have some words from them, and then we would have something to review, and we can make a decision that way. I would like to see at least 3 people on this committee, if indeed that's what the board wants us to do. I mean, in the past, we've let the Education Foundation, and they're very apt. I mean, I don't have any fault with them. They can come up with a candidate just basically the same way from the student applying and saying they're interested in history. So I guess the question is right now, what do you want to do? Do we want to continue the way it's been, where the Education Foundation selects the recipient, or do we want to do it ourselves?
Susie, do you know how many scholarships they give out? So in other words, if they're charging everybody $50 per scholarship,
Right.
how much are they making off of the generosity of the ones that are?
A lot of money is given out in scholarships in this county. All the organizations that are giving money away, it's unbelievable. Over 200, more than $200,000 goes out the door from, you know, each little club. I'd have to look up and see. I probably could have it somewhere in the background, but yeah, I don't know. Where's this money going? Where's this $50 going? You know,
I mean, if there's 100 scholarships that are given, and you're at $50, you know,
right.
at each one, I mean, that adds up to a lot of money, and I don't know how that would possibly validate what they say their expenses are suddenly for processing all of this, you know.
That's a very interesting point that you're making. And Susie, as far as the comment that I would have to make about this, I agree with you about the alternative option that we would have. I think the board should consider that we have a committee and that we decide how do we want our scholarships awarded. And I agree with your proposal or your ideas there about us having our own committee that we make the decision based on, for example, in the situation of Courtney Crum, who James had written. She was a volunteer who came into the society working at the summer, entering past perfect, and it helped her, but she moved on, and she ended up getting a scholarship from us. Now, that's the type of students that we should be rewarding, and that is a doable thing, working under our own committee to make our own decisions on who we would like. We want to be responsible in using that scholarship money that this person that our members have voluntarily given in some capacities. And I think that's a much more reliable source of choosing a person if we control it ourselves. I like that idea.
Okay.
Now, mirroring
And
what
we do
Fran
have-
just,
We do
I'm
have
sorry, Fran.
educators on our board. We do have educators' background on our board,
Yeah.
is my understanding, with like Dale Allen, right? And we could certainly solicit more volunteers. I know that we have people on the list that Deborah has of volunteers who are interested in education. So we can solicit our own committee if I personally agree with that approach.
Good.
now, kind of mirroring what Fran had just said, I just got a text from Linda Giroux. She believes that we should bring the scholarships back in-house, completely bypassing the school board altogether, and that Linda would be happy to sit on the committee to help make the determination of who's going to get the money that we offer out. So that's Linda's opinion. Who else we have that wants to comment on this?
I totally agree with what Linda just said, and I'm totally against the extra money. So I think we should do it on our own, and it should be on picks on who has helped the historical society. So just
Yes.
like Courtney did. I think that's how it should be, and we do our own handout.
So we
Well,
would
I
prefer.
don't, okay.
Do you think it's viable that with our board tonight that we should carry it over to see what other people on the board feel about it and bring it for an agenda item of next week to take a vote on it and to solicit volunteers for a committee?
The committee won't need, the committee that reviews the students' applications won't need to be put together until the spring. I don't think I want to bypass the Education Foundation entirely. They do a lot of, the student, first of all, where would we advertise the scholarship at? How will the student find us? The students go to their guidance office, and all these scholarship opportunities are right there, and then they decide what if they want to fill a form out, and it's a master form that they fill out, and they've got to have a certain grade point average to even get on anybody's list. So we would have to get, and we don't have to get the students' grades if we don't use the Education Foundation system. We wouldn't know what the grades the students getting. That's information that I'm not sure that can be gotten on students, individually. But you see all of that when the student fills out their application. You also maybe get a little glimmer of financial need, which sometimes is it's a great opportunity to help people out, that financially need it.
I move that we table this until we get more information.
Okay, well, what kind of information do you need, James? Because what's happening is the deadline was yesterday. They want to know if we're going to participate in the scholarship programs this year. I can put them off for a while, but there's going to be a point when, they've got to amass this, they've got to put it on their application. They've got, the opportunity opens up in January for the students to start to apply.
I'm not in favor of this
Well-
holdup of the $50 per student. I'm totally against that.
Right.
Okay, I would say that if we're an active board, we're a board that under our bylaws, when we have a quorum, we can make decisions, and we do have a quorum tonight, don't we? That we can make decisions. So if we feel that it, due to the timeline that they're requiring us to response, we need to meet that. Then why don't we just decide it tonight and take a vote? That would be my question.
Yeah.
My
I
attitude
make a
about it.
comment
Go ahead, Tanya.
with on the fair board and we usually every single year we change and we elect 4 people to be on a scholarship committee. We have different or certain criteria that each senior has to make, and they have to do an essay and all that. But each one, the checks, I send the check straight to the school as soon as the student goes to the college. They have to give me their ID number, their student number, and I send the check straight to the college with their student ID number on it. And it's nothing, there's no money taken out of it except for what we send to them.
Right.
And I'd rather it go straight to the student than them take any money out of it, period.
Right, again, but what they're saying is in the letter, that you will notice on the letter of intent, we put into place a $50 management fee per scholarship. This fee is to help the foundation cover the cost of the many hours spent overseeing the scholarship process and to help alleviate the cost of the online scholarship platform. So it's an online
How many
platform.
people do we usually get?
How many what? Applicants?
How many applications do we usually get?
See, we don't know because we never did it ourselves before. AAUW has gotten hundreds of applications to look at, 80 to 100 different years. They have a committee. I think there's 5 on their committee. We can talk about how you evaluate an application. That would be a committee level discussion. But right now it's just, I don't think, in my opinion, we shouldn't be backing out of there's the opportunity for the students to apply. Whereas we would have to cover everything on our own. We'd have to have advertising. We'd have to reach out to the students. And how do you find them? And how do they find us? So we would use the online platform that the Education Foundation uses, which is a general application. And then you have the opportunity to check off what you're interested in. And then that comes to the Garden Club. They get all the ones. The Irish Social Club gets the ones with Irish descent. So then, I was on that group and we read essays. And that's how we made our decisions.
This money charge is wrong, as Mr. Fisk says, but the problem is we have no means of reaching these student applicants.
Right.
So fundamentally, we're stuck with this program for at least 1 year.
I think if we get with some of the schools, we can get them to at least, they usually have lists of places to get.
Yeah. The school is working with the Education Foundation, and the school, I've not had the experience where I can go into a school and just ask for, give me a list of all the girls in Leicester County. I'm with it. I'm with Bill. I think this is the way we have to go. It's a matter of, paying the $50 under protest. I do not think the students should be,
At this point in time, we have no choice.
Right.
Because we don't have the organization, we can't reach the candidates, and we just don't have a choice.
Right. I can send, the nasty email and tell them what the board is saying and go on record that way to say that we disagree with this and we think this is the wrong time and this was. They're not being very, in my opinion, very respectful of the philanthropy that's in the county, of the many organizations that do this. And it smacks you in the face. It's really ugly.
When was this letter sent
And
out?
especially, and also the fact that they're not giving you any time to make a plan for it. They're just telling us that we have to, you know, we've got to ante up this money, and there's no opportunity for us to even make a decision on whether we want to or not. That's very poor business practice for people that are trying to do the right thing by these scholars.
Yeah, the letter came out October the 23rd.
Thank you.
So what about an option of, and you know, again, this, I'm withdrawing it. Never mind. All right. So where is everybody on this? Do we pay the fee this year under protest? Do we withdraw the scholarships this year and get organized for next year? What is everybody thinking?
Now,
The only board
the
members,
question I have-
wait. The only board members we're missing tonight are Dale, Robbie, Jan, and Claudia. So
Now-
again, just for the sake of options, if the board decides that they also want the opinions of those missing board members, this can be sent out as an email to everybody tonight or tomorrow morning, and then we can get a full response of what everybody thinks on this subject matter.
I would also love to have input from Cisco and Gloria Dean just for their advice.
So like I said, there's a motion on the table to table this until we get more information, which basically is input from the other board members.
So it doesn't have to be another board meeting. It can be through email. I think this is
Yeah,
something that we
correct.
can discuss through email. All
Correct.
right, so we have a motion on the floor to table this until
I have a question before you put this on the floor.
Yeah.
Right now, what I have in my possession is the letter of intent that is sent to all the organizations. And you will state your intent. Do you intend to give a scholarship this year? Can I fill that out? Is what, you know, are we intending to give out 2 scholarships? Is that what we want to do? We don't have to pay the $50. I mean,
To be determined.
Yes, but
Once we have more
yes, but if
information.
yes, because we cannot commit that we're going to do it. If we say that, yes, we are going to, the intent is to do it, then that's basically acceptance of the fee that
Yeah.
goes along with it.
right.
And we're not agreeing to that right now. So when do you have to give that to them?
Well, like I said, I got it October the 23rd, and the letter of intent is due yesterday, November 16th. So
Why is this just now being brought up?
I just got it. I didn't have it. I showed it. I came to Ed and talked to Ed about it, but I didn't, at the last board meeting, I had not received this.
Okay, yeah, October 20, never mind.
Yeah. At the last board meeting, the letter had not come to
Okay.
me at that time. So,
So how does everybody feel about this? Susie, would you be able to send an email out either tonight or in the morning to all of the board members, kind of giving an overview of the situation, what some of the things are that we discussed about options, and then we can take tomorrow and Friday, maybe put a 2-day timeline on it as far as coming to a decision, and then we can settle this before the weekend, so we wouldn't be too far past their deadline. You know, the only other option, which I withdrew it before, is to tell the school board, if you're going to take an administrative fee out, then go ahead and take it out of the scholarship, and we'll just let the recipients know. that you took an administrative fee out of the money they were supposed to get.
But, you know,
This way, the negativity of the situation that they've created is on them, and it's not making us feel guilty about being held hostage, about having to pay. You know, the way that I look at it is extortion money for being generous. You know, and potentially, you know, they may be making, you know, $5,000 off of this, and is that really what their administrative fees are for, you know, for doing all of this? It just doesn't add up.
But the way we have it set up, the Education Foundation never sees our money anyhow. They don't touch our check. It doesn't go through them at all. There's no, so they don't have the opportunity to take it out of the student's money. We write.
So we would have to give it to them one way or another.
Yeah, well, I guess we could be on the blacklist and, you know, of the people that didn't pay. I mean, but yeah, I'm sure they'll be sending me more. If we don't pay, I'm sure they'll be right at you. And I bet we're not the only ones.
Okay, so we have a motion right now for us to table this until an email comes out from Susie, if you don't mind doing that, either tonight or tomorrow morning to all the board members, so we can get a little bit more deliberation on this before we decide what to do. I think it's a precedent. You know, it's one of those things where, again, in my mind, I look at it as extortion. I just don't see how the numbers add up, and I want to make sure that the board is unified on this. You know, we're a group of friends. This is important. You know, and I want to make sure that we do the right thing, not only for the students, but for the board with a unified front. So we've got a motion to table this until the email comes out to the rest of the board. Do we have a second for that?
I
second it.
All right, so we've got a second. Bill Ryan, I heard first. Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor for tabling this for at least 12 hours, say aye.
Aye.
Or wait. All right, so that motion passes. So Susie, I thank you for putting that email out. If there's any way I can help you with this process, please let me know, okay?
Okay.
All right, great, thank you. Moving on to our next item of new business, the issuance of a key to Deborah Venema, who has been doing quite a bit of work in the background. Right now, she's been here on Fridays when Fran and I are available to be here. Otherwise, she's just been working from home. Fran, since this is something that you brought up, I'm going to have you present it.
Thank you, and I'll try to make this as short as I can. Basically, I am going to give some background because some of the people do not know Deborah, have not had an opportunity working with her, but I can assure you she's been an active volunteer since July, from the moment she came in, back to us, I should say. She was in briefly a couple of years ago. Then she works full part-time employed through the week. She immediately accepted the position of being our volunteer coordinator, and she's consistently worked on Fridays with the side of just a couple of times being out of town. She works from 10 to 2. And just to sum up her contributions that she's made, I'm not going to go through the list of the documents and the forms and the books that the volunteer orientation guide that Ed had started in a great draft form, but we've spent an unbelievable amount of time. It's a wonderful tool for our Flagler County Historical Society in bringing volunteers, training our volunteers, as well as other tools for our society. Deborah, just to sum up, she's not only reliable and competent professional, she's experienced, she is a self-starter, and she is a completer. She gets something going, she gets it done, and moves on to the next thing. And she has, I can assure you, the overall goodness of our mission of our society at heart. In everything that I've seen her do and talk about and get involved in. She's volunteered over 60 hours already. Anyway, that being said, I would just tell you that the way she's been coming into work is Ed or myself have to be there through the time that she's there, which Ed is in another part of the building. We are social distance, but believe you me, it does create a little bit of a hardship because Deborah wants to come into work and someone has to be there to open up and close up with security. And based on this, her performance and her potential that she brings to our society, and not just to volunteerism, but I can assure you other ways, I would like to bring this up, and I would like to make the formal proposal that the board approve issuing a key to Deborah Venema to allow her to access the annex and the Holden House to perform her duties while she's serving as our volunteer coordinator. And the reason she needs in the Holden House is when she has brought volunteers on board, she needs to be able to go in and, you know, actually do the tour, talk with them about things going on. So that being said, I have put this proposal in, and I would like to hear comments.
Initially, we withdrew keys from being issued to anybody unless they were a board member because of the issues that we had in the past with somebody that I'm not going to be naming. So that's been the board's decision in the past. Even though Deborah is not on the board, this is a titled position. She's put her time in as far as work goes. And I also feel personally that she's responsible and trustworthy. If the board were to change its policy on who has a key, it can be board members and titled positions, or board members and Deborah Venema, volunteer coordinator. So that's just my 2 cents, and everybody else can go ahead and pass comment.
So basically, we need to change the policy first and then issue the key if that is approved. Is that correct?
Okay, bringing that part of it up, I don't really know where the written policy was except in the minutes. And the other part is that we had 2 logs. We have a log where people are given a key on a temporary basis for use of the facilities.
Well, that we had canceled out.
Okay.
When I first came in, we had done it. My recollection is we had done away with that, and that the only people that were going to have a key would be a board member, and that if somebody else needed to use the facility, like say the AAUW for the Holden House, that a board member would have to be present,
Okay.
be on site, open up, lock up.
Okay, well, I've made a proposal.
All right. So,
And so
Fran has made a
that will
motion.
be denied. I'll withdraw my proposal.
Oh, wait, no, I wouldn't withdraw the proposal.
I'm in favor of the idea. It's just if there's a policy out there, the policy is going to need to be changed at the same time.
It's not in our we haven't amended our bylaws. We've just set a precedent at a board meeting by voting on it, and it's a permanent record in the minutes. So Fran, how does this sound? We've got a motion by Fran amending our policy for key holders to include the volunteer coordinator occupied currently by Deborah Venema, and that would be the extent of key holders.
I will second that.
Fran, does that sound good to you? Just to back up a second, Fran, does that sound appropriate? I'm sorry, yes or no? Fran?
I said, yes, they did. Those are the
Okay.
words that came out of my mouth.
All right, sorry. I'm getting a message on the computer here that my internet connection is unstable, or maybe I'm unstable. I'm not sure. All right, so so James, is that a second motion? Yes. Is there any further discussion? All right, all in favor of issuing a copy of a key to Deborah Venema, having her sign it out just like we all have, say aye or wave affirmatively.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, our telephone people, Teresa,
Aye.
All right. Thea? All right, Linda
Aye.
has, all right, thank you. Linda has said aye as well. Are there any opposed? All right, hearing nothing, the motion passes. So Fran, I'll let you go ahead and speak with Deborah and we'll get her a key. Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, next item on our list is the work that Ashley has done on this website. During the course of her developing the website, she has out of her own pocket paid for hosting of the website while it's been under development. After review of the website by both Bill Ryan and by Cisco Dean at a meeting that we had, both Bill and Cisco had proposed not only covering Ashley's costs for the hosting while it was under development, but also to issue her some kind of tax receipt for the amount of hours that she has put in doing this work for us. Bill, I know Bill is signed off as far as microphone and video for right now, but we had discussed this at an earlier board meeting. I want to say it was just as COVID hit. This was something that that I know quite a few people had said yes, that would be a great idea, and the idea was tabled until we could reach the point of where the website was done, so we could have a more complete, you know, a figure of how much work Ashley has done. Look at her just sitting there. So Bill, when we had first taken a look at this website, both you and Cisco had talked about covering Ashley's expenses for hosting and also issuing her a receipt for effectively donating this website to us. Do you have any thoughts or comments on this?
No, I agree with the proposal.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts or comments on this as a discussion?
None.
All right, not
I
hearing.
move we accept the proposal.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion that we reimburse Ashley for her costs for paying monthly to host the website, and then also to issue her a donation receipt for the amount of work that she's had done. Do we have a second?
I second it.
All right, Fran
Fran.
seconds. All in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Aye. Big smile. Aye. All right. Very good. Are there any that are opposed? All right. Hearing nothing, the motion passes. So Ashley, what I'm going to ask you to do is just send us a receipt of how much you've paid out each month for the hosting, and then a log, if you have it, of hours that you've put in with fair trade worth, I guess would be the right thing for website development. If you could send that in and copy both myself and Linda Jarose and Fran, that would be awesome. All right. All right, great. Moving on to our next item is a proposed time chain for board meeting times. There are several people that have been wanting to participate with board meetings, but have been unable to because their work schedule goes until 6 o'clock. So right now we've been meeting at 5:15 forever. Deborah Venema, Tina Marie Schultz, who is our grant administrator, and then even some regular of our board members like Thea have had difficulties with being able to sign on for our meetings. 7:15 sounds too late to me because sometimes our meetings go a couple of hours. What are everybody's feelings about taking our board meeting times and shifting them to 6:15 instead of 5:15? And working very diligently in consideration of James Fisk, to be brief and punctual. Fran too. I know Fran has commented before that you know, sometimes the board meetings last too long. So what's everybody's thoughts about moving the board meeting from 5:15 to 6:15, even if as a trial thing for next month? See how it goes.
That would be great for me because I normally work until 7 p.m. I work from 10 to 7, so that would be wonderful.
All right. Susie, I saw you had your hand up. Were you agreeing or were you wanting to say something?
Yeah, I would want to say, yes, I'd like the meeting to start. My husband is expecting his dinner and it's not happening. I'm going back and forth. That would eliminate a lot of problems in my house. Yes, a later starting time, either 6:15 or 7:15, but I'm with you. I think 7:15 is pretty late.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other discussion or comments?
I'm good with 6:15, just as long as we don't have a Board of County Commissioners length of meetings.
Right. Okay. All right. Very good. Any other comments? Is there any?
I think that we,
Go ahead.
hello?
Yes. Go ahead.
Are you hearing? Okay. I think we do. I would agree with the 6:15, 7:15 is far too late. And I'm on the same page with James. I think we do need to relook at our, the amount of things that get done in the meeting and sort of reduce the time as much as we can.
Okay. All right.
And I
Sounds
think
good.
we can.
Yeah, we'll be more cognizant of that. So is there somebody that would like to make a motion to change our meeting time from 5:15 to 6:15 p.m.?
So move.
All right. So James has made a first, seconded by Thea. All right. Thea has made second. Any further discussion? Hearing nothing, all in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye.
Aye.
Right, good. Got everybody. Anybody opposed? All right, so our new meeting time for December will be 6:15 p.m. There's one item of additional new business. This is a 30-second thing. I'm still waiting on an updated renewal contract from the TDC. Amy Lukasik had sent an email out saying that they were revising the next version of the service contract with all of the museums in Flagler County. That was 3 weeks ago, and she said she was going to get it out the next week, and we have not yet received it. So we're still waiting on that contract with the TDC. Once I receive it, I'll send it out to the board for everybody to review. Is there any additional new business? Going once, going twice. All right, hearing nothing about new business. We've got a couple of announcements. Tomorrow, November 19th, Bill Ryan will be doing a Zoom presentation at the Valdosta Library. It's going to be on Gray Eyes and the 1767 Cattle Drive. The link to watch the presentation is listed in the agenda. Next month's meeting, if we were to do it on our regular fourth Thursday, would fall on Christmas Day. So the proposed meeting for next month would be on the 17th at 6:15 p.m. Is there any discussion or concern about that, or is there another date that works better for everybody? All right, hearing no discussion or thoughts or comments, is there anything else that anybody has to say, or are all minds clear at this point?
No offense, Bill. I will not be participating in the Zoom meeting tomorrow. It's my birthday.
Oh, wow. Boy, am I glad I know about that. How about that? If everybody takes a look at my background.
Happy birthday.
What's that? Yeah, happy birthday. Take a look at the background. This is kind of what the ornament looks like in its unfired version. It's got Holden House across the top. There'll be a ribbon to hang it from the tree. And once they fire this and put a glaze on it, I'll send out a photo of what the finished product looks like, so everybody can see. So, James, happy birthday! I want to wish everybody a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. I know this is an unusual year. A lot of us aren't able to get together with family. We're your family. If you miss us next week for Thanksgiving, let me know. I'll call together a special Zoom meeting. We can show one another what our cranberry sauce looks like. And but seriously, if you're on the meeting and you're still with us, count your blessings. You're here. You've made it almost to the end of 2020. So
Yeah.
say your prayers for all of us, and we're going to make it together. I know we are.
Yes.
Have a great night. I look forward to seeing
Yes, we are.
everybody at the next meeting. And
Happy birthday, James.
enjoy your evening.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday, James.
All right.
God bless y'all.
Thank you. You too. Good night. Hello? Hello? Hello?